You know, Moses, 10 major events took place in Egypt. 10 major, very, very powerful events took place. And, you know, science professors try to answer these things, right, with nature and volcanoes, this, that, but no one can explain the last event. No one can explain the last event with the firstborn taken, the firstborn child taken. No one can explain this. Moses was on his own. He went walkabout for 40 years. He was totally on his own. There wasn't one pastor, one preacher, not one person stood by Moses. He was 100% on his own, 100% by himself. You ever watch the movies? He was alone. He was completely alone, and without that power, he would not have frightened the living shit out of 40,000 Israelites because they were mesmerized with their self-centered, egotistical, judgmental, competitive, mental, psychological, self-envy behavior, just like every person in the world is today, mesmerized by their five senses, trapped in their skull with their high IQ, self-centered, and think they're special in the world, and all new age mutations, artificial intelligence, and think they're special, right? All think they're special across the world. Well, you know, God had to make a very powerful intervention with wrath, serious wrath, to wake people up because nothing else works. You think love and compassion with chocolates and roses worked? You know, the only time that Christ got real attention was when he went into town and he smashed the gamble tables, market tables, 12 people in church, and he told them, he told the pharaohs, the kings, the pastors, the priests, he said, you're controlled by Baal in your skull. You spineless, weak cows, you fuck up all my people. You trap them in their skulls so they suffer the human condition about their life and do what they're told. That's how you control them. I know. You put nefarious into their mind through education with the tree of knowledge of all things good and evil, and that's how you control them. Trapped inside their skull. That's why the mind does not know what it's doing. Father, forgive them. They do not know what they do. They have no comprehension of what they're doing. Sodom and Gomorrah, 5 cities wiped out. God didn't fuck around. Not when you got polarized with hypnotized states with your beautifications, your materialistic things into screens. Polarized into screens all day. You call yourself humans, do you? Are you serious? Do you call yourself spiritual, moral creatures, right? You can't even keep your family together. You don't even know what love is. You look for love on screens. Synthetic, artificial, what? Post-humans, homotech babies, transhuman agendas, and you trap yourself in your own agenda. That's why you can't even keep your family together in real life. You can't talk to people in the streets. You're not connected to life, nature, and the things in harmony with. You're psychologically mental. You're insane. You're psychological. We know that. You live in your mind 99% of the time, and they're saying it all the world. You're trapped in your consciousness, a mental event, a mental process, an illusion, imagination, and that's what you love the most. The illusion and the imagination. That's what you love the most. That's what you have a relationship. Screens, Hollywood, American dreamers, self-proclaimed prophets, listen to voices all day long, put a name on yourself, put a ticket on yourself, and sit on your ass like a couch potato trapped into your mind on the screen. Oh, yeah, you love materialistic things, modern technology with gadgets, with images. The very things you want about the most is what you're trapped into the most. You know what you don't understand? Not one person stood by Moses, right? There was barely no one that stood by Abraham neither, right? Nobody stood by Enoch neither. And Methuselah, Enoch wrote 100 books about the Noah's family, the naked drunks, the Vikings, the Nordic part of the nations with European colonization. I just made a very important video about 2 minutes ago. The Nordic fathers of the nation, the Anunnakis, the aliens that look just like you, that has bestiality, and the child sex offenders that love naked drunks, not being drunk with drugs, love child sex porn, love bestiality all over the UN. The UN and NATO is the beast. The Babylonian beast with the Nordic father of the nation with European colonization like Trump. He's an Anunnaki. Pure blood Anunnakis. The greatest deceptions ever created in human history is Anunnakis. They look just like you. They look exactly like you. You know, Hitler tried to wipe every ethnic out except for the Nordic part of the nations. That's what Harari wants to do, create Hitler's plan. Take Hitler's plan on. He said, Christ is over, God is over. We have our own gods. We have the divine power, creation, destruction. That's what the fourth industrial revolution in the 14 Days Religion is saying to you, the architect and Klaus Schwab, they are the great fathers of the Nordic, fathers of the nation with the European colonisation, and that's what your government's signing into, the Anunnakis. They're not following their leaders of their Nobel Prize winners that says it's a natural selection of life. No, they want to replace it with intelligent design with AI because they're possessed by aliens in their mind by UAPs. Known fact, disclosure, and UFO disclosure all over the world. We know the whole world's controlled by Anunnakis. Known fact. So I'm going to tell you something, right? No one knew that, right? That's why Plato wrote 15 books about one certain bloodline, right? Cain was given a mark because the rest of the bloodlines. We have 24 different bloodlines here, different species. Go and Google this. 24 distinct DNA differences. 24 distinct different species, just like the Bible was told you. And you can see that on social media platform on Google. You can read this. 24 distinct species that followed their own father's footsteps. And they only have 23 chromosomes, and they only have 5 senses. They've got no biological genes with their 27 senses. They can't think outside the mind. With the light bulb in here, they haven't got their third eye to see the vision that tells them 1,000 words. My mental thing, remote view, and mental ability, and ESP. Only 1.3% has. Only that bloodline has that follows that tree. Plato wrote 15 books about this. You're all created from the woman's seed in the 24th chromosome. Your Y chromosome is an intervention, but you keep mutating the 24th chromosome in the 23rd chromosome with mental disorders and DDFX and get younger every day into a reincarnation trap. And then you get stuck in a reincarnation trap and come through the revolving door with amnesia. And you all have amnesia. Every single one of you don't even believe it. Well, you have amnesia, you don't know. You don't believe in reincarnation. That's what Christ first learned. And he woke up from amnesia at 24 and discovered who he really was. Then he took 12 disciples in the cycle of life for 7 years off the grid where natural selection can take place. And then they woke up from amnesia and discovered who they were so they could do what he can and more as well. That's what Moses took 40 years to teach 40,000 Israelites. When they were mentally insane with the serpent mind trapped in their side of the skull. When they did not know what they do inside the mind does not understand. So they were mentally insane. And the only way they go over to the desert was to force them, right, with the events that God created because they didn't give a fuck about no one. They just wanted to go back with the pharaohs, but they got shit scared when things happen. And they were forced with fear to go over there. And it took them 40 years and 3 generations to bring them back in the primal modes because then they created paradise with that the kind of relationship when they were thinking instinctively and thinking outside the skull, the mind. John warned about this in Revelation. Jeremy gives the top boulders on the wall and 16,000 scholars, top scholars have said we're in the wrong mindset, on the wrong grammar, perverse to God by nature and UN. 5 legislation been put in by 5 different governments like Argentina against UN and NATO for creating mind control weapons with reverse ecology and creating a body that's going corruption, coercion, collusion by 5 years old and died by the time we ate it prematurely non-stop. You know, that's the deception created by Babylon, right, by the Anunnakis. You live to be 1,000 years old in your bloodline in your 24th chromosome. That's been the greatest deception ever created in human history. 500 years old, the most authentic DNA in the world, no metal source, no DNA defects, lived by the Vineyard rule equally for 100,000 years in every single Adam and Eve story. You're in the 6th one, stripped from the 6th sense for the 6th time. You're in the 6th one, stripped from the 6th sense in 6th time, in the 6th mass extinction. And you will get wiped out because you know what? When you become mentally insane like you are today, you got wiped out every time. You got wiped out in the Persians, the Greeks, and the Roman days. The same way. Nature takes its own course and wipes you all out. And that's what's happening right now. That's why they're going underground military bunkers. Right? Military bunkers with nuclear bunkers. That's why Trump in a nuclear bunker at the White House and Biden's going underground with his nuclear bunker as well and all the elite are. They're moving 600 tons of food underground now because they're getting wiped out. They saw in the looking glass. 227, they all get wiped out for 20 years. That's why Trump put in Agenda 247 after a 20-year collapse. New York climate clock countdown. 7 years from 220 to 227. You felt the darkness come over the planet, the zombie apocalypse that possesses every person in the world. That possesses every person in the world. Now they're all robots and zombies all over the world with psycho programs, right, ever since 1960. The last human being born was 1960. You're going into the chasm event now, and you're all delusional in a massive delusional parasitosis. Massive global delusional state. And you know, there's only one way to wake you up, and it's not with love and compassion, chocolates and roses, and radio waves and frequencies and bullshit and lies and social media platform by spineless weak cows that can't use Jacob's ladder, which is a Neuralink, and can't create the second secretion, can't use the third eye because they're spiritually bankrupt and they're only mental, psychological creatures speak shit all day. with a high IQ. That's all they are. They haven't got medical telepathy, there's people remote viewing, they haven't got an intervention. They've got no divinity whatsoever. They lie. They all lie and sit up upon a screen, and that's what they're warned about, right? By their pharaohs who are anarchists, and they follow their bloodline in their own DNA. So their bloodline's going into anti-clockwise. So they're going to death spiral by the time they're 80 prematurely and suffer the mental disorders, stress and anxiety, confusion, frustration, delusion, paranoia throughout their life. And lie and live in a delusional state in front of the screen because they can't connect to life. They can't keep relationships together neither. They wouldn't have a clue how to, right? They live in their own agendas. They live in their own truth and they only believe what they want to believe in their own little narrative. It's a known fact. They can't use their biological genes, right? And there's only one thing that's ever worked. The fear of God's wrath. The fearing voice of God. God's wrath. And I'm here to tell you something that you're all going to hear soon. This is what's happening right now to your kids that commit suicide. A voice in the mind. Report all over the world. People killing with affairs all over the world. In reports everywhere in jail. Killing when the voice doesn't move. People die all the time. Some people live to tell the story. And they're hearing the same thing. The same voice all over the world. You're going to die. 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 Some people live to tell the story. Body snatching boys all over the world. Body snatching. How many lost a relationship in the last 4 years with a good friend or a family? How many lost your relationship? Body snatchers. Under the peer reports in Abana syndromes, right, with animals going around in circles, birds falling out of the sky with vertigo, in peer reports with Abana syndrome all over the world, a body snatching virus. Under the COVID Act, a zombie apocalypse. March 225. You're not listening. You're polarized and hypnotized state. The UN and NATO, right, is in anarchies. The Nordic father nation take over the whole world. The UN is forcing a natural selection of life to replace intelligent design. Harari says, Christ is over, God is over. We're creating our own gods. We're doing Hitler's plan, Gilgamesh's plan. We are the gods here. We're going to create our own gods, and we got the power. We are the best. We are the best. We are the Nordics. We are the Nordic father nations. We are the European colonization. We're going to kill them all because that's who we are. We're the great ones. And we live by the laws of Gandhi. All about me, myself, and I. All about me, all about me, all about me. Self-centered, egotistical, self-envy, pride. Poison inside your bloodline. I'm going to tell you how it is. Right? Fear needs to go through your thick skull. Fear is the only thing that's going to wake you up. It's the only thing that worked for Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the only thing that worked in the days of Noah. It's the only thing that works with Moses. It's the only thing that works in Babylon. It's the only thing that works with the Persians, the Greeks, and the Roman days too. You don't think it's going to work today, do you? Oh, you're living in a polarized state, aren't you? Mesmerized in a massive global delusional state, sensitive and highly emotional, with demons in your mind, with a hostile entity that controls you. And if you don't wake up to that, then trust me, you get wiped out like the days of Noah, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. The world's going to get wiped out, right? And every single one of you is going to get wiped out. You don't believe in that? You create the relationship? You have the divine power? Are you in the Christ image and what he can more? Are you afraid? Are you controlled by stress, fear and anxiety, confused by state delusion? Do you live in a polarized state? Or are you connected to the life, nature, and the things in harmony with? The mother and the father, the two olive trees, the two witnesses, the two candlesticks, the mother and the father. Do you have that divine intervention? Because I know you don't. So I'm here to tell you something. I'm designed for this moment. And I'm here to tell you something. You're all going to get wiped out. You're all going to die. And you're all going to wish you had listened. Because no one dies. You're going into a trap in the abyss for 1,000 years. Do you know what it's like in there? No noise, no voices, no taste, no eat, no nothing. Just you all by yourself in the abyss, completely in silence. Do you know what that's like? With no more voices in mind, all alone? No more voices in mind to talk to? You're all alone for 1,000 years? Believe me, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to get trapped inside the abyss for 1,000 years. 1,000 years because you don't fucking listen. You're nothing but Netherlands and you're spineless, weak, sensitive and highly emotional cowards and think you're something special at the same time. Believe me, you're nothing but the germs under my shoe. You're nothing but Anunnakis. You are godless, immoral creatures all over the earth like the days of Noah, no differently. And trust me, you will fail if you don't wake up and restore your biological genes and create that relationship with God and the mother and create that connection immediately with codependent fears from the atmosphere with the book Freedom by Jeremy Griffiths to go through the rabbit holes and stick your head out the cave and wake up from amnesia. And also, we're not breathing program is one another for us to recreate the second secretion you can't create because you conduct with radio waves with the wrong frequencies and the wrong mindset. If you don't believe in that, you're screwed.